tonight, controversial influencers Andrew and Tristan Tate in federal court today for the first time since being arrested in Miami over the weekend.
And the embattled brothers appearing in shackles as they fight extradition to the UK, where they're facing new rape and sex trafficking charges. Let's get right to Local 10's Christina Vasquez live at Miami with what's next for the Tates. Christina.
The pair stood in front of the judge in their beige jail jumpsuits, and for right now, they wait as this process begins to play out.
This just broke hours ago, and it's not what anyone expected. Andrew Tate's highly anticipated U.S. jail hearing has been postponed. His legal team just secured more time, and what they're doing with it could completely change the trajectory of this entire case. We're talking potential implications that ripple far beyond the courtroom. Stay with me, because the details they just revealed are absolutely massive. Breaking news just hit the wire. Andrew Tate, the controversial influencer currently detained and facing serious allegations, was supposed to have a critical U.S. jail hearing today. Instead, his defense team walked into court and secured a significant delay. Federal judges don't grant these delays lightly. Something serious just happened behind closed doors, and we're going to break down exactly what it means. The hearing that was scheduled for today, the one everyone was watching, got postponed. His lawyers argued for more time to prepare their defense strategy, and the judge granted it. This isn't some minor technicality. This is a federal judge essentially saying that what Andrew Tate's legal team is planning to present needs more preparation time than they initially thought. The implications are staggering. Think about what this signals. Federal courts move at breakneck speed. Judges typically don't grant extensions unless there's a legitimate, compelling reason. The fact that they approve this delay means something significant is happening behind the scenes. Is it new evidence? A change in legal strategy? A potential plea negotiation on the horizon? We don't know yet, but the court wouldn't have granted this without substance. For anyone who might not be caught up to speed, Andrew Tate exploded onto the internet as a kickboxer and online personality. He built a massive following across social media platforms, attracting millions of fans, particularly younger males who were drawn to his controversial lifestyle content and financial advice. His persona was brash, provocative, and unapologetic. He positioned himself as a mentor figure, a guru of sorts claiming to teach the secrets of wealth and success. Then everything changed. In late 2022, Romanian authorities arrested Tate and his brother Tristan at their home in Bucharest. The arrest sent shockwaves through social media. Within hours, the allegations emerged. Romanian prosecutors accused Tate of leading an organized crime group involved in human trafficking and exploiting women. These weren't minor charges. These were serious federal allegations with an international dimension. The case expanded. As Romanian authorities investigated deeper, they uncovered more alleged victims, more alleged crimes, and more evidence. Multiple women came forward with testimonies. The scope of the investigation grew significantly. What started as an arrest of a controversial influencer became a full-scale federal investigation spanning countries and involving dozens of investigators. But here's where it gets complicated. Andrew Tate and his brother have maintained their innocence. They've fought the charges aggressively. Their legal team has challenged evidence, questioned witnesses, and pursued every available legal avenue. The case has dragged on for over a year, with multiple court dates, multiple rulings, and multiple appeals. The situation took another turn when U.S. authorities got involved. The United States federal government expanded its investigation into Tate's activities. Federal prosecutors in the United States reviewed the Romanian case, analyzed available evidence, and determined that there were legitimate grounds for U.S.-based charges as well. This meant Tate could potentially face prosecution, not just in Romania, but also in the United States. A much more serious scenario. U.S. federal courts have a reputation. They're thorough. They're aggressive.
Good afternoon, everyone. So today went as expected. There was never going to be any fireworks today. Today wasn't about controversy. Fighting extradition, we've assembled a team here. These are from the Roy Black's prestigious firm. The Honorable and since passed on Roy Black, he's a legend, and they're here. They have joined our team. We have a competent team. We have a wonderful team. We're looking forward to getting the best possible result under the sun. Proceedings have now started in this courtroom, so I am less liberal with what I'm able to say. But if you have any questions for me, I'll do my best to answer them in a way that's respectful of your time, of our time, and of the court processes.
They acknowledge that the brothers.
Go ahead.
Acknowledging in court that the brothers reviewed the complaint and you were with them. Could you explain their first reaction to these allegations?
A treaty allows an exception for extradition if the charges are politically motivated.
Right.
What you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Ultimately, if the legal process goes towards extradition, it will be up to the Trump administration and the Secretary of State to decide to sign off on extradition. What do you believe the administration is seeing about this case?
Well, I appreciate your question. I see where you're going with it. You're fast voting to the end of the process. What's important to do now is focus on what's here and now, what's before us. Well, we have to go in there. We have a conference coming up in a few days. We're going to set a briefing schedule. We'll make our arguments before the court. We'll see what this judge does. I don't want to make political statements about the administration when right now that's the executive branch and we're here in front of the judicial branch. And I want to be mindful and respectful of the people that we're in front of here.
Do you believe your clients have support of the administration?
I believe that my clients have support from every person who's a reasonably minded person, whether they're in the United States or abroad, elected or not elected. Everybody knows that Andrew and Tristan Tate are innocent. Yes.
The U.S. Department of Justice has virtually unlimited resources when pursuing cases of this magnitude. If the federal government decided to press charges against Tate in America, it would represent an escalation that his legal team knew they had to prepare for very seriously. The hearing that was scheduled for today was going to address these U.S. charges. This was a jail hearing, potentially determining whether Tate would remain in custody while awaiting trial or whether he could be released pending proceedings. This hearing was crucial. The outcome could have meant months of additional detention or potential release. For any defendant, these hearings carry enormous weight. That's why the delay is so significant. The judge essentially postponed a decision that could dramatically impact Tate's immediate future. His legal team has now bought themselves additional preparation time. But for what? That's the question everyone's asking right now. Let's talk strategy. When a defense team requests a delay in a federal case, they're making a calculated decision. They're saying, we're not ready. We need more time. In federal court, those words carry weight. Judges scrutinize these requests. They want to know why the delay is necessary. They want to understand what preparation is so critical that it justifies postponing a scheduled hearing. There are several possibilities here, and we need to explore them because they paint very different pictures of where this case is heading. First possibility, Tate's legal team discovered new evidence. Maybe they uncovered documents, communications, or witness statements that change their legal positioning. Maybe they found something that significantly strengthens their defense. That would absolutely justify asking for more time to analyze it, understand its implications, and integrate it into their strategy. Second possibility, they're negotiating sometimes. Delay requests come when lawyers are in active negotiations with prosecutors. Maybe Tate's team and federal prosecutors are discussing potential plea agreements. Maybe there's movement toward a resolution that doesn't involve a full trial. These negotiations are extraordinarily sensitive. They require time, back-channel communication, and careful consideration. If negotiations are happening, the judge granting a delay would make perfect sense. Third possibility, they're fundamentally changing their legal approach. Maybe Tate's previous defense strategy wasn't working. Maybe preliminary hearings revealed prosecution evidence that was stronger than anticipated. Maybe his team realized they need to shift tactics entirely. Developing a new legal strategy, finding new experts, hiring additional specialists, researching different angles, that all takes time. Fourth possibility, they're preparing for something major. Maybe they're going to challenge evidence acquisition. Maybe they're building a defense based on constitutional violations. Maybe they're preparing to argue that evidence was obtained illegally or improperly. These complex legal challenges require extensive preparation, research, and briefing. Whatever it is, the court agreed it was important enough to delay the hearing. That matters. A federal judge doesn't make these decisions lightly. The moment this news broke, reactions exploded across the internet. On social media, Tate's supporters immediately claimed vindication. His defenders interpreted the delay as evidence that the prosecution's case might be weaker than reported. They saw it as the legal system finally giving Tate's team breathing room to mount an effective defense. His social media channels lit up with supporters celebrating what they saw as a victory. But prosecutors and observers close to the case saw something entirely different. They interpreted the delay as a tactical move, possibly indicating that Tate's legal team recognized they were facing an uphill battle. Some legal analysts suggested that more preparation time might be essential precisely because the evidence against him is substantial and his team needs to find any possible angle to challenge it. Victims' advocates expressed concern. Organizations that support human trafficking survivors saw the delay differently. They worried that extended legal proceedings mean extended justice delayed for the alleged victims. They pointed out that every month of legal maneuvering is another month that survivors aren't seeing closure or accountability. This delay, from their perspective, isn't about strategy, it's about injustice continuing. International observers noted something else entirely. This U.S. involvement fundamentally changes the case's trajectory. American federal prosecution carries different weight, different resources, and different consequences than proceedings in Romania. The fact that this is expanding into U.S. jurisdiction means the stakes have become genuinely higher. Media outlets have been covering this extensively because the story has everything. It's got a high-profile figure, serious accusations, international intrigue, legal complexity, and real-world consequences for multiple people. The delay itself became newsworthy because it suggests the case is more complicated than previous headlines suggested. Here's what most people don't understand about federal cases at this level. When the U.S. Department of Justice targets someone, they come prepared. Federal prosecutors don't take cases to court unless they believe they have strong evidence. The stakes are enormous. We're talking about potential sentences of decades. We're talking about convictions that would result in years, potentially the remainder of someone's life spent in federal prison. For Tate, if convicted on human trafficking charges, the sentencing guidelines are severe. These aren't minor crimes with minimal consequences. Federal human trafficking convictions carry mandatory minimum sentences. We're potentially discussing 10, 15, 20 years or more. For someone like Tate, who's currently 37 years old, a substantial federal sentence could effectively be a life sentence. This is why the legal positioning matters so much. This is why his team requesting delay time isn't trivial. Every decision in a federal case at this level can have massive ramifications. The bail hearing that was supposed to happen today was going to determine whether Tate remains incarcerated or gets released while awaiting trial. That's an enormous decision. That's the difference between months of detention and freedom. The delay means that decision gets postponed. It means more time for his team to prepare arguments about why he should be released. It means more time to find character witnesses, establish ties to communities, or develop arguments about his non-flight risk. It means time to prepare everything they need to make the strongest possible case before the judge. But it also means the prosecution gets more time. Federal prosecutors can use this delay to finalize their evidence preparation, solidify witness testimony, and ensure they're ready to counter whatever Tate's defense presents. This case has become something bigger than just criminal charges against one influencer. It's become a flashpoint in broader cultural conversations. Andrew Tate positioned himself as part of a specific online movement. His content and philosophy resonated with millions of young men. His arrest and prosecution have become symbolic for different groups. On one side, advocates for justice and victims' rights see this case as essential accountability for someone who they believe contributed to a culture that exploited women. From this perspective, the delay is frustrating precisely because it delays accountability and justice. On the other side, critics of the justice system argue that Tate is being persecuted for controversial speech and lifestyle choices. They see the charges as politically motivated, designed to silence a voice that challenged mainstream narratives. From this perspective, the delay is a necessary check on government overreach. The truth probably exists somewhere in between these extremes. The criminal justice system exists to prosecute actual crimes based on evidence. Tate's case involves serious allegations, not just controversial rhetoric. Alleged human trafficking is a genuine crime with genuine victims. The investigation appears to have uncovered evidence beyond just Tate's online presence. But the case also reflects genuine tensions in modern society. It touches on issues of power, influence, gender justice, and the role of government. It's become impossible to separate the legal questions from the cultural ones. The rescheduled hearing date matters enormously. Courts will schedule this for a specific reason, typically allowing enough time for the work that both sides said they needed. Based on typical federal court timelines, we could be looking at anywhere from 2 to 8 weeks before this hearing is rescheduled, depending on the court's docket and the complexity the defense team indicated. In the meantime, several things will happen. Tate will remain in custody, unless something changes dramatically. His legal team will be working intensive hours, reviewing evidence, consulting with experts, coordinating strategy, and potentially negotiating with prosecutors. Federal prosecutors will be finalizing their case preparation, ensuring all witness testimony is ironclad, and preparing to counter whatever defense strategy emerges. More evidence might become public. Discovery in federal cases is extensive. Both sides will exchange documents, witness lists, expert reports, and analysis. As this discovery process continues, more details about what investigators found, what witnesses reported, and what evidence prosecutors intend to present will likely become public through court filings. The case could potentially move toward resolution. Plea agreements happen in federal cases. They happen frequently. Actually, sometimes the most likely outcome isn't a trial at all. It's a negotiated resolution where the defendant accepts guilt on some charges in exchange for reduced sentences or having other charges dropped. The delay might create space for exactly this kind of negotiation, or the case could be heading toward full trial. If Tate maintains his not guilty plea and rejects any proposed agreements, this will eventually go to a federal jury. Federal trials in cases of this complexity typically last weeks or months. The consequences would be dramatic for everyone involved. What's happening with Andrew Tate's case reflects something broader about modern justice. Cases involving high-profile individuals, especially those connected to social media and internet culture, develop differently than traditional criminal cases. The legal proceedings happen in public view. Every court filing becomes news. Every delay gets analyzed. Every statement gets scrutinized. It also reflects how international crime investigations work now. Andrew Tate's alleged activities crossed borders. Multiple countries got involved. Different legal systems needed to coordinate. Evidence from Romania became relevant to U.S. prosecutors. This complexity necessitates the kind of preparation time that his legal team just secured. The case also demonstrates how serious the U.S. federal government is about prosecuting human trafficking. These are crimes that federal law enforcement prioritizes. They commit enormous resources. They investigate thoroughly. They prosecute aggressively. If Tate is being prosecuted in U.S. federal court on these charges, it means federal authorities believe they have substantial evidence. Andrew Tate's delayed U.S. jail hearing just handed his legal team more preparation time. His lawyers have secured something that federal judges rarely grant easily. What they do with this time will matter enormously. Whether they're uncovering new evidence, negotiating with prosecutors, or fundamentally changing their defense strategy, the next phase of this case is approaching rapidly. This case is far from over. The hearing will be rescheduled. Discovery will continue. The legal battle will intensify. The stakes couldn't be higher for Tate, for alleged victims, and for everyone watching to understand what justice looks like in 2024. This is a developing story, and it's moving fast. Subscribe right now so you don't miss the next update. The moment that rescheduled hearing date gets announced, the moment new evidence emerges, or the moment there's any major development, you'll see it here first. This story is absolutely not finished. Hit that notification bell and stay locked in, because Andrew Tate's case is only getting more intense from here.